What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you another video. So today I want to talk about something fairly recent game. Came out like in the past couple of days or so, on July, I want to say July 30th, yeah, July 30th, and that is Angry Birds 2. Now, personally for me, I'm not a huge Angry Birds fan. I'm not typically the biggest mobile gamer ever. I think I play games here and there, and I was just curious. I just wanted to try it out, and I've played a bunch of levels, and it's Angry Birds. There's been so many different versions. There's been the original, Seasons, Friends, Star Wars, Rio. I mean Rio, not Ryu. Rio. There's been so many different versions. There's been the superhero one or whatever. There's been like so many different versions, regardless. And this one was the official sequel of Angry Birds, which is just interesting, of course. And there's been even the racing one, which is very different. And there's even been the one where you're able to use the pigs instead of the birds. So, which I guess I believe it was called like Angry Pigs or something like that, which was the reverse. And just in general, this is kind of different, and so I decided to try it out myself. And personally, I think this much, I like the physics of the gameplay. I think it's the way that they worked it definitely works pretty well. I like the fact that they split them up into parts and segments rather than doing full on, like you have to destroy like 50 crazy things at once. I like the fact that they do them in parts, and that now there's actually something that says like, oh, you killed all the enemies in one go, strike, or something like that. I don't remember that. Maybe it's just because I never really I don't remember being that great at Angry Birds in the past, but I've been doing pretty well on Angry Birds 2. It might have just been the fact that they made it a little bit easier, and that's nice too, and it's a little bit more open to new players, which is obviously great to hear. Certain characters got newer abilities, and there's also obviously new bird. That one's called Silver. It has like this effect where basically you shoot it out, and then you click somewhere on the screen, and then it will either go up or down. Not the best on that yet. I've tried it a bunch. It's interesting. They've also added some special power-ups like that you can get. They're referred to as spells, which do different things. Like there's one that's like a rubber ducky that basically they'll shoot like a whole bunch of rubber duckies from the sky that will come down and destroy everything. There's one that's like a chili pepper that will burn like one thing, and then that burn will like eventually sizzle and then blast things nearby. And then there's one that like freezes everything. There's a whole bunch of other ones for the spells. The different Angry Birds, like some of them retain their typical abilities, like the blue one, the small blue one turns into 3. Red actually has like a new like blast ability that kind of shoots out like a beam or something like that, like 3 little beams. The yellow one does its typical fast motion. Most of them retain their typical abilities. Like Red's the unique one that got like a little bit of a change, which is kind of nice for once, rather than having the simple like not much of anything going on other than being your trademark bird. So, cool regardless. The way that they're advertised looks pretty good. The music is actually pretty decent. I actually enjoyed it a lot. They're your typical Angry Bird characters, but they're done in a way that you still feel like they're kind of different, and the music is fun, and Angry Birds always sells well, typically. And I did pre-register, as they say, like where you're able to get the notification when the game comes out, because I was just curious. Personally, I'm not like a huge Angry Birds fan, but I just decided, it's a game to play, it's something to do, and I might as well just look into it and see, hey, is this interesting? And personally for me, I've actually enjoyed it a bunch. I don't know if I'm going to keep it on my phone for any length of time, but I'm sure I'll keep it on there for at least a little while, just to try a bunch of levels and see what I think of it. One thing I will note is the fact that they do have a number of live aspect to it, rather than having you be able to play it ridiculous over and over again, which I believe they used to be let you do. I don't remember if I'm right about that, but I feel like I was that you were able to just keep on going. In this case, there is that life aspect to it, where like you have a limited number, and it's definitely something to consider. The lives are interesting as well. I want to say that they're based off of when you actually press the retry button, which in this case really isn't a retry button. It's more like you have to give up on the level and then press retry, which is kind of different, and definitely puts things into perspective. But typically, when it comes to giving up, you typically do that when like there's no way around it, and there are definitely like that's typically what happens. Like there's no way, like when you do that, it's typically because there really is no way you can beat that part or anything. The other thing that they added is the idea that if you get enough points, which is something I'm not sure if they did this in the past at all, because I haven't really played Angry Birds as much. The idea that like if you get enough points, then you can get an extra card, which basically allows you to get an extra Angry Bird, whether it's one that you just use or it's a one that maybe you haven't used yet, and you'll get like two of them in this case. Definitely adds a lot more, because like in some cases, hard stages. Another aspect is that there are bosses. That's normal in Angry Birds, I believe. So the bosses definitely create another element of challenge and surprise that you have to obviously factor in. Something that's become a lot more common in more recent games, but still fun. So anyway, guys, if you haven't, I definitely recommend trying out the game at least for a little bit, seeing what it's like. I know you may think to yourself, it's Angry Birds. Who plays Angry Birds anymore? There are people that definitely play it. It's still a popular game, and it's definitely done well from the first game onward. It's still pretty popular. So if you're interested in trying it out, even for a minute, even for just for a little while, just to see, hey, do I like this version of it? It's worth it. I definitely think, though it's not something that people are always talking about as much as they might have been when it first came out, it's still something fun. It's still something to do. It's mindless. It's enjoyable, and it doesn't take that much thought. And you just do it, and you never know, you might just like it. So anyway, guys, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.